everybody. It's Allie. And welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, July 18th, 2021. Greatest moment of the entire Amanda Sinclair family murder mystery. Devon walks right up to Sutton in the middle of the Grand Phoenix Hotel lobby and says to him, "Excuse me, I'd like to talk to you, you son of a bitch." Excuse me, I'd like to talk to you, you son of a bitch. Yes! Yes! Can we get a round of applause for Genoa City's superhero? When did Devon become a badass superhero? I must have missed it. It happened sometime after he stumbled into the lion's den as a kid. I don't know. It was stumble into the lion's den, become a superhero, be a badass. It happened in the blink of an eye. Devon is practically a saint. He's the town minister. He's untouchable. He was like defending Amanda against the evil Sutton Ames. He was mediating a fight between Tessa and Abby this week. The guy donates sperm just out of the kindness of his crotch, and he somehow managed to sleep with two women at the same time. Didn't get either one of them pregnant, and they both still love him and like him and want to be around him and hang out in his condo. Who is the master of this universe? Devon Hamilton, that's who. Billionaire gentleman Devon Hamilton, that's who. What can I say? I'm a fan. Oh. Hey, could Abby and Tessa have looked more beautiful for their catfight at the mansion? I don't think so. Tessa looked like a scarlet witch with her long dark hair and her long red dress and her long red nails. And Abby looked like Dolly Parton. She was wearing that pink shorts jumpsuit with her blonde hair all like poofed and dolled up at the root. All she needed was a pair of ankle boots, white leather with a little country star on them. She could have been ready to perform at the Grand Ole Opry. Dolly Parton versus the Scarlet Witch, yes. Loved that fashion, loved that turmoil under the Chancellor roof once again. A little bit of drama in that house, thank you. Abby had gotten word from Jack that Mariah actually did schedule some last-minute meetings for work, and maybe that should have been enough to calm everyone down, but no. Tessa's been worried sick. Her wheels are spinning about all of the things that could be wrong with Mariah. It is unlike Mariah to go out of town, not tell her family, especially when she's pregnant, only send a couple of text messages, no voice messages. But it really quickly spiraled into, maybe Mariah's been kidnapped and those text messages aren't even from Mariah. Well, calm down, says Sharon. Everybody just calm down a minute. Maybe Mariah just needed some space. Maybe Mariah's been feeling kinda hovered over. You think? You think? Tessa goes home to pour over the situation with Abby and to relate all of the things that Sharon said to her. Well, Abby immediately went on the defensive, which sends Tessa on the defensive. And before we know it, the whole tension bubble between them just pops. The roof practically popped off of the place. I mean, Abby was kind of blaming Tessa. Tessa was kind of blaming Abby for what we don't even know happened. They're both blaming each other for what may or may not have happened to Mariah. So far, I've got no evidence that anything happened to Mariah. But Devon had to step in. He had to use his infinite wisdom and calm the whole situation down, which frankly disappointed me. I kind of wanted Abby and Tessa to keep going at each other. Abby admitted to Devon that she's lonely. Chance was always there to calm her down whenever she needed it, and now he's gone. And boy, isn't it just a coincidence that Stitch shows up at the front door just after the fight between Abby and Tessa, and just when Abby is at her loneliest. Yes, he always seems to be there. Stitch popped up first at the coffee house this week to have a chat with Sharon, and Stitch revealed that the reason he's been hanging around town extra is because he was offered a job interview at the hospital. So that's why he's hanging around now, and that might cause him to need to hang around a lot more in the future if he's gonna take the job and move to town and be around all the time. Great! Because Stitch really helped the situation between Abby and Tessa. It went from worry, a little bit of worry, to full-blown Mariah has been kidnapped and it's probably all Tessa's fault. Maybe somebody from Tessa's past or Tessa's sister's past decided to catch up with her and has now made Mariah the target of a revenge plot. Well, really? Didn't we kind of go from 0 to 60 pretty quickly on all of this, chatters? I don't know. You tell me. Our poll question for this week. Mariah is missing. Was she kidnapped? YRChat.com. Tell me if you are buying the kidnapping theory, because I'm not. I am not. I really don't think Mariah has been kidnapped. I really don't think Stitch kidnapped Mariah. I think that Mariah's disappearance is a very transparent way that the writers are buying time. They are stretching. Stretchity, stretch, stretch, stretch. We gotta stretch this. And to their credit, they're stretching it in a way that we asked for. Let's give Tessa some spotlight. Let's talk about Tessa's past. Let's talk about Tessa's feelings, and let's let Tessa give it to Abby. Let's let Tessa let Abby have it. It'll be good. And it was. But ultimately, if Mariah's been kidnapped, it's got nothing to do with Tessa. If Mariah's been kidnapped, then it's somehow going to be connected to however Chance's story loops back around. Mariah would have been kidnapped and it would have had to do with Chance. And Stitch, maybe not, will be a plot point there in the final showdown, but I think mostly Stitch is just there right now to be an emotional placeholder for Chance, for Abby. But, you know, what I think would be even more interesting, and where I'm kind of setting my skull on it this week, is I think it's entirely possible that Mariah's disappearance is not a kidnapping at all, and that Mariah just simply walked away. Yeah, I know, it doesn't sound like Mariah to just walk away, but Sharon made some compelling points. Maybe Mariah snapped. Maybe Mariah needed some space. For weeks now, we've seen Mariah growing increasingly comfortable with the idea of her pregnancy. Maybe even the idea of being a mother. Maybe Mariah simply realized that she loves this baby, and maybe even that she wants to keep it. Yes, I loved seeing Devon tell Sutton that if he ever threatens Amanda again, then Devon was going to use his billions to put a stop to it. Loved that. But I worry that Devon just tipped Amanda's hand to Sutton. Because when Devon was all full of his bluster, he blurted out to Sutton, "You're a coward, and Amanda is gonna reveal it." Well, Sutton's gonna remember that little piece of info coming from Amanda's boyfriend. Sutton had paid a visit to Amanda and Imani early in the week. They were working on Naya's case. And Amanda shut Sutton down and shut Sutton out. She didn't want to give him any updates, any info, anything that might tip him off to the fact that she is planning, as part of her defense strategy to free Naya, to pin the blame on him. So now, I think thanks to Devon, Sutton may have just caught on. I think Amanda's goal of freeing Naya may have just gotten a little more difficult. Do you guys think that I should have free Naya t-shirts printed up? I don't know. I was just kicking around the idea. I did like how Devon mentioned that Naya's confession read like a Tracy Abbott work of fiction. I thought that was a nice line. Does Amanda realize that Naya is not going to be happy about all of this? Does Amanda realize that she might win her case and she might win this vendetta against Sutton, but that she might also lose her relationship with her mother? Amanda has been scouring around. She knows what her goal is. Expose Sutton. That's the key to freeing Naya, and it doesn't hurt that she wants to do it. So she's been digging around trying to find dirt on Sutton, but she can't find anything. Well, maybe the great and powerful Victor Newman will have something in his bag that can help her out. Victor calls a meeting with Sutton and says to Sutton that he's got the answer to his Amanda Sinclair problem. Well, I'm thinking that Victor is being true to Amanda. I'm thinking that Victor is about to set a trap for Sutton. And I'm hoping that Sutton walks right into it. One can hope. Before Amanda went to Victor for help, she also went to Lily for help. But that conversation ended up being more about the fact that Amanda saw Billy talking to Phyllis in the hotel lobby. And I'm kind of wondering what's up with Lily this week. It seems like she's had a couple of worried reactions when it comes to Billy. First, it was all about Victoria and why Billy is so interested in this story about Locke, and is it more because of Victoria than it is about Locke? And then second, Lily seemed kind of worried about why Billy was partnering up with Phyllis to try to find out about Tara and her story. I don't know. Lily seems insecure. She mentioned to Billy this week that, well, maybe he's looking for something more than ChanceCom has to offer. Maybe she was internalizing that, thinking that he's looking for something more in a woman. I don't know. Maybe Lily is deep down thinking that Billy is unsatisfied. Or who knows, maybe Lily is just afraid that Billy is about to do something drastic. Wow, Nate, that tie really is your color. Really, Imani? What color is it? I don't know. I was busy staring into your eyes. Okay, so we've talked about Nate's fashion. We've talked about Imani's fashion. Can I just say how beautiful Elena looked this week, holding that gorgeous little pink and white cake with the 2 black forks, when Imani said to her, "Hope you brought enough for 3. Imani is a she-devil. She is a straight-up devil. But Elena looked so beautiful in that sheer white sleeveless dress. It was like lacy and so gorgeous on her and so light and airy and perfect for summer. And I just felt so bad for Elena. She was handling Imani's rudeness with such friendliness and class, even inviting Imani to join in on the little romantic dinner that she clearly had planned. And then Elena was even taking sympathy on Imani, saying, all right, I know you're in a new town. You probably need to make some friends. And then Imani just plunged that olive branch right into Elena's back and said to her, "Oh, I have no trouble making friends." Like, then she just complimented Nate and walks away. Imani is such a jerk. I love her. Then Imani went back to Amanda and Devon, and she was immediately talking about how Nate is Genoa City's most eligible bachelor. And then when Devon said, well, he's not really a bachelor, Imani just kind of scoffed. Elena, ugh. Whatever. As if Elena didn't really even count. It's about time we circle back to Faith. She's had a heck of a year, and she seems to be recovering nicely, but she's skittish, you know. Moses has been a real comfort to her. He's a nice boy, and it's been good to have a real friend around, not a snake in the grass like that Jordan. But Faith is a teen. She's unsure of how to, take things to the next level. She's never been in a situation where she has to go from friendship to boyfriend. It would be a first for her. So things between Moses and Faith got off to a rocky start this week, but it's nothing that a couple of Crimson Lights lemonades can't fix, right, Sharon? Faith calls Moses for a second meeting after their weirdness, and Faith admits that she got uncomfortable by their relationship talk, and she asked Moses if they could take things slow, and she reassures him that she's still really into him, so all right, score 1 for awkward teen love. Adam turns down Chelsea's request to take Connor from riding horses all summer long on the vast acres of the ranch to probably a 1-bedroom apartment where Anita will be bedbound while her hip heals. But then Chelsea surprises Sharon with an apology and amends to the havoc that she caused, not just on Ray's health, but for what Chelsea did to Sharon, too. And before Chelsea goes, she also slips in a little comment to Sharon about how Adam and Victor have control over her son. And so Sharon asks Adam to reconsider letting Connor go with Chelsea, and he does. Let Connor go to live with my deranged ex-wife and her con artist mother? Well, if Sharon asks me to. If Chelsea asks me to, no, definitely no. But if Sharon asks me to, okay. Well, the mustache wasn't having it. he has got muck in those stables that's going to need to be cleaned out, and he wants Connor to stay in Genoa City to do it. Well, luckily for Chelsea, Adam stuck to his guns. Adam told Victor that this was his son and his choice, and he wants Connor to have this time with his mother. No second opinion necessary. So, Chelsea accepted that, was happy about that, smiled at Adam, even looked at him in a way that made me think she was realizing that maybe he's not the root of all evil that she's been thinking that he was all this time. And then Chelsea took Connor and they skipped right off the ranch, escorted by Ray. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the guy that Chelsea tried to kill, Ray. Chelsea will require a police escort for the entire time that she is with Anita, and Michael chooses Ray, the victim. That makes sense. First of all, shouldn't that have been the job of the chief of police, Paul Williams? Yes, it should have been. Not the district attorney. The district attorney would not pick the police escort victim. Okay, we'll set that aside. Second, Ray doesn't mind being sent on an out-of-town mission for who knows how long. I mean, hips don't heal overnight. It's a long process, and Ray is like a local Genoa City cop. He doesn't mind being sent to Minnesota as a police escort for what could be months, while Sharon is left all alone out there at the ranch at night, living next door to Adam, who lives in the tag house and leaves the door unlocked while he's upstairs in the bed with his shirt off and the sheets down. Because he hasn't made love in nearly a year. I mean, day one of Ray and Chelsea being gone out of town, and we see in those previews already. It's late at night one night at the coffee house. No one's around. Adam is telling Sharon that he misses her. That took no time. So, I mean, with Connor and Ray out of the way, what is stopping Sharon and Adam from having their complete reunion? Only the steely restraint of Sharon Rosales. That's what's keeping them from happening. Sharon is known for her steely restraint. Oh, but what if Sharon actually is completely faithful to Ray, as she has been all along? And what if the tables are instead turned and Chelsea tries to seduce Ray while they are away together? And what if Chelsea and Ray come back with a secret that Chelsea succeeded in seducing Ray? Ashland shows up at the park for a play date with Harrison, while the entire Abbott family is there, including Grandpa Jack and Grandma Sally. Tara asked Sally to film a little video of her playing together with Harrison when Ashland comes into the scene, and suddenly Ashland has some shortness of breath and he shouts out to get Harrison out of the way so the kid can't see him struggling. And then Ashland also lashes out at Tara when she is seen trying to help him. Well, surprise! Sally never stopped recording, and the whole thing was caught on tape. Tara quickly realizes that she's got to get Sally's phone. She deletes the video from Sally's phone, but not before sending that video to herself. So, was that totally a setup from the very beginning? Tara told Ashland the wrong date to meet at the park maybe in the first place. Then Tara, we know, turned around and leaked that video to the media, which means she totally also leaked to the media the news of Ashland's illness in the first place a few weeks ago. So maybe Tara has a part of her strategy that this will get her a better divorce settlement somehow, like seeing Ashland struggling and being a jerk to her will somehow get her more money in the end. Or maybe Tara is just jealous because Ashland has moved on so quickly with Victoria, and so she wanted to give him some bad press and maybe try to punish him and maybe try to ruin the merger deal. I don't know what Tara's motive would be, but she managed to drag Sally into another scandal in doing so, put Sally into the position of now having to tell another lie to Jack. No, she didn't know anything about that video. Well, Sally called Tara back to the park after Sally realized that that video was leaked and Tara had to be the one to do it. Sally wanted to tell Tara off about the whole thing, but who was lurking around the corner? Billy Abbott. Thank goodness. Finally. Yes, I've never been so happy to see Billy's face. Finally, he's on the case of a story that needs to be broken. He's investigating something that needs to be investigated. And I like his new partnership. Who better than Phyllis to help bust a crazy lady? Like, it takes one crazy lady to know another crazy lady and to bust her. Billy confirmed Phyllis's suspicions that Tara was up to something and also hipped Phyllis to the idea that Tara and Sally have a connection. Well, that's all it took for Phyllis to put on her very best toothy smile and slink on over to the Abbott mansion for a chat with Tara. I loved this scene so much. Watching Phyllis try to be girlfriends with Tara was so entertaining. It was so rich. It was like the real Phyllis was just dying to jump out from her own skin and then lunge at Tara and rip her face off. Phyllis was talking all about how important it is to keep your family together. Oh, she gets that. She gets that. You got to keep your kids safe. You have to give them a good father figure. Phyllis gets it. She gets it. Oh, and she is so proud of Summer for realizing that she wasn't ready to be a stepmother. And Phyllis even tells Tara she should let Kyle step into that fatherly role in Harrison's life since everything is going down with Ashland. And then Phyllis just sat back and watched Tara's reaction to the whole thing and was able to clearly see what Tara's agenda was all along. Phyllis left the Abbott mansion, closed the door behind her, and she stood on the front porch and we just saw this really great reaction. I was dying. It was like Phyllis finally met her match. She finally met someone who she thought was even crazier than herself. That was great. Billy and Phyllis had another catch-up session at the coffee house, and Phyllis could somehow just sense that someone was behind her eavesdropping, and sure enough, it was Sally Spectra. Sally plays it off, but then goes to Tara to tell Tara, to report to Tara that Phyllis and Billy were mentioning her name and might be on to her, and it could be a really big problem. Tara is then so thankful that Sally has brought her this information that she doesn't mind doing a little favor for Sally. Yes, Sally asks Tara to do her a favor. Phyllis seems to be getting in the way of Jack and Sally's romantic reunion. So, Tara, can you please use some of your evil unicorn magic to put a stop to what Phyllis is doing with my chances of getting back together with Jack? Yes, of course you can. Tara's evil unicorn magic is limitless. Jack comes home after another exhausting conversation with Phyllis, where Phyllis clearly wanted to grab Jack by the collar and shake him and start screaming to him about what a schemer Tara is. But Phyllis pulled herself back from doing that. She knows that she has to play it smart with this one. But Tara is already a step ahead. When Jack gets home, Tara is wringing this tissue in her hands and she's pretending to wipe away tears, all because Phyllis came by today. And the things that she said to me, Jack, they were just so awful I can't even repeat them. Flash to next week's previews, and Jack is asking Sally out on a date. Wow! Tara's evil unicorn magic is really something else. I would like to get some of it for myself. Maybe Tara can help my mortgage magically disappear too. I don't know. She's incredible, the things she can do. I said it 2 weeks ago. Jack is gravitating back toward Sally out of spite for the way that Phyllis has been pushing him. I think that Phyllis is good muscle to bring in when you need something hammered, but subtle Phyllis is not. I think Sally's Spectra might be no match for Phyllis, but Tara Monster is a different monster altogether. If Ashland is faking his illness, he made a spectacle in front of his son on purpose, and that would be really awful, which makes me think that Ashland is not faking. I just don't know what to think anymore. Just as Ashland and Victoria were closing in on their merger, Victoria could not stop herself from daydreaming. She imagines that Ashland agrees to seek treatments and that he's gonna get better and that they're going to become an instant super couple with their two companies merged together, ruling the world happily ever after, no death do them part. Oh, it is suspicious that Ashland doesn't want to get any treatments. That's the piece of it that's the weirdest to me. He doesn't even want to entertain the idea of a recovery, not even for a second. Even when Victoria is so clearly good for him and they're so clearly falling in love. And she even called him on his BS when he got all snippy with her after that incident in the park. Like, they're a good couple. They would be a great match. He should at least want to try. But he doesn't. He doesn't want to talk about recovery. He's having more and more trouble catching his breath. He performed his merger speech really flawlessly, though. There was absolutely no problems with that performance. He was doing the live streaming broadcast via satellite dishes straight from the Newman Towers. And he and Victoria had quite a love fest going on there for each other. I think they both love each other, but they both really love themselves too. Everyone was very impressed by the announcement and by Victoria's power move. Like, she's not just a powerhouse anymore. She's a titan. Even Lily was like, damn girl, you go. I loved, by the way, that Lily had the same thought about the announcement that I did. Are they getting married? Are they announcing their engagement? No, it wasn't, but I was totally anticipating that the whole time. Instead, Victoria just droned on about the merger. At length, the corporate speak was strong with her that day. And even though they weren't getting engaged, Victoria did ask Ashland to move in with her. Oh, immediately Ashland freaked out. He really freaked out. He had a bad reaction, like things had gone too far. Maybe with his plan to fool Victoria, maybe not. Maybe just that things have gone too far in their feelings for each other. Maybe both. All of the above, I don't know. But he started to get really antsy. He said he was going back to New York. And why would she want to bring a sick man into her home around her kids? Which I think is a good point. Mommy bringing a new guy into the home, but don't worry about it. He'll be dead soon. But Ashland ultimately agrees. Victoria has charmed him just as much as he has charmed her. And so, yes, Victoria and Ashland moving in together. Victoria did make sure to tell Billy and to ask him to take the kids a little more often because of it. Don't want the kids to have quite as much of a front row seat to the death show. Yeah, I was kind of with Billy on this one. His concerns were my concerns. I was like, what? You want to move your kids out and move Ashland in? I mean, there's no reason Victoria couldn't continue to spend time with him in a very freshly painted, nice, neat new condo or something. Come home to the kids at night. No, let's just make the kids give up their bedrooms. But you know what? Victoria got some compassion in an unexpected place. Nikki, who has been very concerned about Victoria and Ashland for weeks now, decided to put all of her doubts aside, and she pretty much said that, you know what? It's great that Victoria is able to open up her heart to someone who needs her, and she's even opening up her home now and her life, and that this is a very courageous move by Victoria. So Victoria was reaffirmed by her mother. And you know, if we're actually going to get Ashland Locke's death, and we're actually going to see Victoria kiss Ashland goodbye a few months from now, then you know what, I'm for it. I really am. I think those could be some real Emmy-worthy scenes right there. The only person who was not immediately impressed with Victoria's power move was Victor. But why? I mean, shouldn't Victor be kind of happy about all of this? His company just got bigger and more powerful, and shouldn't he be really proud of his protege daughter? I think Nikki made the right point. Victoria just did what Victor would have done. And instead of being proud of her, he immediately got mad at Adam for not doing what Victoria did, that he's mad at her for doing. I don't know. Like, Victor suddenly was like, what's the matter with you, son? Have you lost your killer instinct? How dare you not fight with Victoria to prove your love for me? Well, it makes it seem like Victor's only truly happy when his children are competing for his attention and approval. How dare Adam just try to be happy? Victoria's gobbling up the world, but Adam's gone soft on Chelsea, on Billy, on everyone. Oh, well. Maybe Victor had a realization. Maybe he was self-aware about that, because Nikki walked out on him after their lunch date. All Victor wanted to eat was sour grapes. She wasn't having it. She walked right out the door, told him that she could not believe that he could freeze out their daughter this way, and then, to Victoria's surprise, a beautiful big bouquet of flowers showed up in her office, which I immediately knew was from Victor. I said to myself, that's a Victor bouquet, I know it. No, you don't have to read the card, it's fine, I know. I already know. What I also know is that that bouquet included a congratulations card, but I know how to read between the lines on that congratulations card. Victor is setting up a new war between Adam and Victoria, and that's what the card really said. Can we stop with all of the explosions? No, I disagree. I think we need more explosions. I vote more explosions. Well, that was our Who Said It quote from last week. Can we stop with all the explosions? And the answer was Kevin. He was nervously asking for a little bit of neighborhood help from his big brother, Michael, the district attorney. 5 of you guys guessed that correctly. It was Henry, Daisy, Jamie, Nancy, and Diana. Y'all guessed that it was Kevin. How about this one? I like it. I don't know if you're gonna get it. Rain in Spain, etc., etc. Who said that? Rain in Spain, etc., etc. I don't think you guys are going to get it, but I think you should prove me wrong and go to yrchat.com to guess. And if you get it right, then I will give you your shout out during next week's Y&R Chat. Okay, and now it's time for comments, starting with Sandra, who says, I would like the storyline with Victoria and Ashland to continue into a grand love story. Even if Ashland only has a short time left, I'd be so satisfied as a viewer to witness tender moments and a great love between he and Victoria before he leaves the canvas. I would not be interested in a reveal that Ashland and perhaps Tara were plotting against Newman to take it over. Yeah, Sandra, as time goes on, I'm starting to think that maybe that is where the story is headed. Someone commented at the website last week that Richard Berge has a year-long contract, but that Y&R kind of had to talk him into it, that maybe he really didn't want a long-term role on the show, so maybe he is going to die, and maybe we are going to see Victoria love him to death. Ooh. Well, speaking of death, last week I asked you guys who killed Amanda's father, and here are the results. 53% of you think that no one killed Amanda's father because he's alive. Yes, that's how I voted too, 53%. But runner-up, 25% think that Sutton is the killer, and yeah, I'd say that's probably the second most likely. He is more and more looking like a real bad guy. 10% think that Naya did it. 8% said someone else, but didn't say who. And 4% said Imani. I don't know how it would be possible for Imani to have killed Amanda's father, but I put it on there because I knew someone would think it and have a theory about it. I just didn't see anyone who commented about how that would have worked. But yeah, majority think that this is going to twist into us actually meeting Amanda's father, including Samuel, who says, I'm inclined to believe that he's still alive because that would make this storyline much more interesting, and we've already seen a picture of him. Yes, we did have a picture of Amanda's father, and it would have been a younger picture of him, so presumably he would have been presumed dead years ago, so they could use even a different actor and just say, oh, he's aged up, you know. But yeah. Marianne V says, I think Amanda's father is alive and Sutton is holding him prisoner or paid him enough money to stay hidden. That would be a very soapy twist, especially holding him prisoner, because he would have been missing for a long time. If he is alive, he's been presumed dead for decades. Jamie says, I'm completely intrigued by Victor's plot for Sutton. I have to believe that he is on Amanda's side and more than happy to help being down the Ames family. more than happy to help bring down the Ames family patriarch. Also, I liked seeing Devon stand up to Sutton on Amanda's behalf. The look on Sutton's face was priceless. Yeah, when Devon said, excuse me, I'd like to talk to you, you son of a bitch. The look on Sutton's face was like, okay. I mean, he did have a really good reaction. It took him physically back, and he got almost like a smirky smile over his face, like he was looking forward to the altercation, and that made it even a little bit more fun. Leslie says, this is the sexiest Devon has ever looked at me telling Sutton off today. Go Devon. This is the sexiest Devon has ever looked at me telling Sutton off. Dang, Leslie, that's funny. Yeah, I love it. Devon was very sexy in his telling off of Sutton. I knew that was going to get a big reaction out of the Y&R chatters because it got a really big reaction out of me. Also, just backing up 1 second to Victor, the cutaway, the cliffhanger from Friday was making it seem like maybe Victor was getting ready to backstab Amanda, because the way he said, I've got a solution to your Amanda Sinclair problem, almost made it seem like Victor was getting ready to backstab Amanda and partner with Sutton instead, but I don't think so. I think that was maybe meant to be a little bit of just a cliffhanger. I think maybe just to keep us wondering about it. I think ultimately Victor is on Amanda's side, and she was saying, I trust him more than I trust my own grandfather. So if Victor is getting ready to backstab her, that would be pretty bad and kind of not on brand for Victor these days either. Now, I think Victor is Team Amanda in all of this, and I think he's only trying to appear to be on Sutton's side in order to maybe lure something out of him or lure him into something. Like a confession. Well, Victoria says, if Nate was still in love with Elena, I don't think Imani would be turning his head so much. He'd notice her, but his tongue wouldn't be hanging out when she is around. I thought he was gonna jump up and get an extra spoon. Oh man, yeah. I mean, I'm trying to maintain some objectivity on this, but I do think that Nate loves Elena. I think he can love Elena and still kind of raise that sexy scarred eyebrow at Imani at the same time. I mean, Imani would be fresh and intriguing to him. I could see him feeling drawn to her. I don't necessarily think that takes away from his deep feelings for Elena, but perhaps Nate is simply flattered. I mean, Nate has been in this position of the third wheel for so long with the relationship between his love for Elena and her relationship with Devon. I think that maybe Nate simply feels flattered that the ladies are taking an interest in him. Superplex says Elena is sweet, innocent, sincere, and unassuming, and open to an intimate relationship. Imani is, you better worship the ground I stand on, or else. That's a really good description. Yeah, because I think Elena is sweet and sincere. I don't know if I would necessarily use the word innocent to describe her, but sincere is very true with Elena. I think even though Elena's made some mistakes, she does come off as very genuine to me. But the way you're characterizing Imani, it's just so familiar. Everybody's met this girl, right? Like, you better worship the ground I stand on, or else. Yeah, but you know what? We still have plenty to be revealed about Imani too. I mean, we don't. At the end of the day, we know her bravado, but maybe there's a little sweet, innocent soul in there with her too. Switching gears, T. Nicole says, can you imagine if Chance just walked through the door? He'd find his child's surrogate is missing, and the biological dad is Devon, and then let's add in Stitch always hanging around Abby? He'd be like, is this actually what happens when I leave? If Chance just walked through the door, T. Nicole, I think that I'd have to have a round of applause for myself. I mean, if Chance just walked through the front door, a lot of things would be solved. I don't care if Chance walks through the front door and immediately Stitch shoots him to death and he dies on the beautiful black and white tile floor. That would be fine with me. I just need some resolution about Chance. But yes, the situation has become increasingly absurd. I think that's the larger, greater point. The situation is absurd. Oh, but Shelley says, quote of the week, "It's not all about you, Abby." Thank you, Tessa. Yes, that was so good. It's not all about you, Abby. I mean, I think that the writers are responding to the fan voice here. That's why I don't think this is a plot. I don't think there's a big Mariah kidnapping plot here. I think what it is the writers know they have this big space before Mariah gives birth. They have to do something with it, and they're filling it in with little moments like that have been building. Like, finally, yes, I mean, Tessa's been around. She's had scenes. Let's let her say something. Let's create some kind of drama here. They had to do something. I think, though, that their larger plot, their larger plan is still a little bit away, and it's really more has to climax with Chance. They know they have to do something about Chance. I think Stitch is a smokescreen. This kidnapping is a smokescreen. They're getting somewhere on what they're gonna do with the Chance character, and it probably is killing him off. I mean, it has to be one or the other. They either have to recast him, or they have to kill him off, or I guess I don't know. They can't send him on a forever mission. I mean, nobody's gonna buy that he's just on permanent mission. They have to do something there. But I think whatever they have planned is gonna be timed with a sweeps month. I think whatever it is, they think it's good, and they're saving up for it. So they're just burning time and spinning wheels till we get there. But Sherrod says, "That's it. I am booking my flight to Genoa City to put a beat down on Stitch for making my Tessa feel bad and thinking that it's her fault that Mariah is missing." But to the writer that came up from the basement and contributed to the last 2 episodes with the mentioning of Crystal, Tessa, and Mariah's past, keep them around. Yes, Sherrod, that is exactly it. It's ridiculous to think that this is connected to Tessa's past. It's not a plot point. It's just someone up from the basement saying, "Come on, you guys, let's fill in some character here." And they finally did it, and that's the good thing about it. Yeah, I think reminding us who Tessa is, reminding us of Tessa's past, that was all just nice fluff. That filled some space on a Wednesday and a Thursday. Good for basement writer. I wonder who that guy is. I like that guy. Bring him back. Or gal. Yep. Somebody bringing at least some character to it all. Well, T. Nicole says, "I'm suspicious of Stitch just because they have everyone who runs into him being so happy and excited to see him. And they're remembering him as such a good stand-up guy. That makes me think that he could turn out to be a bit of a bad seed." Okay, well, see, here the thing is, I'm less suspicious of Stitch because it seems like Y&R wants me to be suspicious of him. I refuse to be suspicious when Y&R wants me to be suspicious, okay? I will be suspicious when I want to be and when they least want me to be, damn it. I'm a rebel. I am a rebel, baby. I think Stitch he's got those blue eyes, and they keep doing the close-ups of his face and his big smile, and oh boy, doesn't he looks like he could be in a football uniform, just running down the field. Isn't he so all-American? So, I'm gonna go with that. I feel the red herring is all it is. Like, to me, they want me to be suspicious, and therefore, I refuse. Oh... Keisha says, "Mariah is carrying a Newman Abbott Chancellor heir. Imagine how much you could get for that on the black market. Maybe Chance is working a human trafficking case. It would be wild if Stitch is somehow involved in that. This case brings Chance home because Mariah is missing." Oh, well, that's clever, Keisha. I like that Mariah that was somehow be tied into Chance that way as part of that investigation. Human trafficking, though, they said what Chance, or they speculated on what mission Chance was off on. I don't remember it being about human trafficking, but I can't remember exactly what it was. I almost wanted to say it was drug related or something. I can't remember. Does anybody remember when Abby was looking up articles online and talking about the FBI stings? And I don't know, maybe that was just meant to be also more filler. But I do like your idea that could be a tie-in to the Chance's story. But I don't know. Do you really think Black Market Baby? I mean, that's been predicted for quite a while because we had Nina involved in this storyline, and we know that her child was taken and sold on the black market. I guess that was Ronan. So people have been predicting a twist like that for quite a few months now. I think even since Mariah got pregnant. So yeah, that could be a tie-in. And Tony says that is a good theory. I've been promoting that Stitch's sister Kelly is still alive. Maybe he will give the baby to her. Didn't she want an Abbott baby? That would be an interesting jolt to the story. I remember seeing Kelly's dead, bloody face. It sort of sticks with you once you've seen somebody's dead, bloody face. That was Katie McLean, right? Didn't she play Kelly, Stitch's sister? That's sticking in my brain. She definitely looked dead in the bed when Jack woke up, and presumably, or us assuming to have killed her. I believe I'm remembering that right. I could be off, but yeah, I remember Kelly as being very dead, but no one's dead in Genoa City ever. Superplex says, newsflash, Faith and Moses, grass grows faster than your romance. Yeah, we talked about this just a touch at the website this week, that Faith and Moses, it is a little slow. It's sweet, but it's not very exciting. I don't want Faith and Moses to drop off completely, but it is a situation where it's like, well, if you're not really going to give them very much focus, then why really put them on at all? Yeah, obviously brought on this new Faith. You recast her for a reason. You've got new Moses. I mean, they're both really great, but they're just not really adding a lot to the story. I mean, I think the fact that they feel awkward with each other, and the little that blossoming young romance, and the way it makes you feel, and the confusion of it all, and firsts, first kisses, first romance, first boyfriend, all that. All that's good, but I think it needs a little more focus to really turn it up and to catch my attention. So far this week, those scenes were a little bit skippable. Sue W. says, oh, Jack. He totally missed the glaring shift in Phyllis's demeanor when she realized that he is apparently snowed by both Sally and Tara. Jack seems to be perpetually puzzled quite often these days. Yeah, that was something, wasn't it? How animated Phyllis was, and then the physical pullback that she had, that you could just really even see in her body itself when she realized that, oh, I'm talking to a brick wall here. There's no changing it. I mean, Sally and Tara, they're on the inside with him, and therefore that makes me on the outside. Therefore, this approach won't work. Yeah. Daisy says, I'm looking forward to the Phyllis and Billy investigation. I hope it happens. I just wish that they would speed things up. I know Tara is a manipulator. I don't need to hear her anymore. Her fake sweetness is so irritating. I had hopes that Sally would take responsibility for her actions and help make things right. But I think the only way that would happen is if Phyllis and Billy confront her on what she did. Sally could not smirk her way out of that confrontation. Yeah, I don't see Sally confessing. Yeah, and I think you're right. I would not have minded seeing Sally turn a little bit to the good side. It's more so now that Tara is pulling Sally deeper into the dark side. And you do make another good point that it was fun when Tara was lightly evil. She has become like the root of all evil. And did you see her this week in that black blouse with the, I don't know what it was. It was a caplet, is that what they call it? Where it just like ties around your neck and hangs over your shoulders and the whole thing. I don't know. She looked like a black evil clown. Like it looked like a clown, I don't know what you call it. like, you know what I mean? When the clown's got the thing that goes over their head. Yeah, it just was that, and it was black. And she was terrifying. I've been wanting to make that joke for so long, and I just needed to find a good place to put it. Terrifying! What do you think of that, Chatters? It doesn't work to write it down. I wanted to add it to the website, but it does, like, it doesn't come, that joke doesn't come across in words. But terrifying actually would be a great drag name, I was thinking, and Tara was giving all of that this week. But yeah, it's almost like now that she is so over the top evil, it's a little less fun. I almost liked it when the evil was more subtle. Now it's every day. It's every time I look at Tara, and we're all just waiting for her to go down. T. Nicole says Michael Mealor has confirmed his departure from the show. I loved his portrayal of Kyle and will really miss him on the show. So, yes, Michael Mealor confirmed his exit. So it's a goodbye, Summer. Goodbye, Kyle. It's too bad. I can't say it enough. I really will miss Summer and Kyle, but now it begs the question of how exactly will he exit? How exactly will it tie in with Tara and her lies and her son, if he is indeed her son? So again, we're moving toward some kind of reveal here. I mean, maybe the fact that they're making Tara more and more and more and more evil is just going to quickly build to her getting busted. Maybe Tara's going to get busted and Ashland's going to die, and that's the answer to both of those questions. Well, let's talk about good old Ray and Chelsea, the two new lovebirds. Gary says, so Ray is off to be the boy toy of Chelsea and Anita, living happily, sharing meals, and getting close. With the Melissa Claire Egan maternity leave, we know we won't be seeing them settle in, but perhaps in 2 months we will pick back up on the scene where Anita is pressuring Chelsea to make a play for Ray if she hasn't already stolen him for herself. Yes, this is exactly what I was thinking too. How long is he going to be off for? I mean, if presumably her maternity leave will be months. Are they just going to have Ray disappear for months? Is this a maternity leave for both of those characters? Just leaving Sharon alone with Adam? But, you know, I would be okay with that if what happens is that Ray and Chelsea come back and there's this sort of hush-hush secret implication that maybe something happened between them. I think that could be very interesting, very unlikely. But, I mean, as far as the story goes, we've seen Sharon remain faithful to Ray. Time and time again, she's chosen Ray. And now that, you know, the cat's away, Sharon has this opportunity to play. If she again chooses Ray and stays true to him, only to find out that Ray was the one that cheated and with Chelsea, I think that would be something. That'd be an interesting plot point. Sue W. says, and boom! Just like that, I'm Team Chelsea once again. Chelsea's scenes with Sharon and Ray showed the flawed but good-hearted con artist I had not just accepted but embraced. In a flash, I forget the fake paralysis, paranoia, poisoning, and all-around cuckoo-ness of this year, and now look forward to Melissa Claire Egan's return. Oh yes, let's get her involved with boring Ray and finally kick up his dormant but simmering sex appeal. I hope this will be her future story. Did I catch a smirk this week though? Not sure what that meant. Yes, I mean, I think we saw Chelsea wanting to plan revenge on Sharon. I mean, she was equally as angry with Adam as she was with Sharon. So I'm not sure that I necessarily bought that Chelsea's turnaround was sincere. It came off to me as crocodiles. It came off to me as saying anything she needed to say to get out of the corner that she had been backed into. But, you know, I don't know. When she comes back, we may find a very reformed Chelsea, or she may still be working a plan, and that plan may include taking Ray away from Sharon. Well, Ellen says, so Ray is intentionally poisoned by Chelsea. She barely gets a slap on the wrist, and now Ray is the person assigned to supervise her on an extended trip out of town. Is there a mental health staff going too? Because Ray is not qualified to supervise or supposedly assist a newly released person who has had a serious psychiatric illness that led her to criminal behavior. And he was one of the victims! Where is Paul Williams? This is so inappropriate. It is a pretty crazy way to send her off onto maternity leave. Then again, all of this is assuming, I guess, that Ray is going to be gone for an extended amount of time. I mean, the fact that it's Ray at all is ridiculous. The fact that it was Michael's decision is ridiculous. But I guess I can't assume that Ray will be gone very long. Maybe, I don't know, was he just helping her because she was crossing state lines? Maybe that's it. Maybe he's not necessarily going to stay. This makes, yeah, I mean, he's not qualified. If she's required to have some kind of guidance or supervision or something, it wouldn't be the town cop who is also the victim. Yeah. Gary says, I liked how, in today's episode, Michael Baldwin pointed up Chelsea's propensity to run in the past. Ray, appointed to guard Chelsea during her maternity leave, is so awkward and full of holes. It truly is highlighting the small-town mom-and-pop community that Genoa Junction City is, despite its booming skyscrapers and Victoria Newman, the queen of the Titans. Yes, two things. It was nice that Michael brought up that Chelsea might be a flight risk. I appreciated that. But Gary's second point here about, it's like, is Genoa City the small town, or is it with the booming skyscrapers dominating New York City? Like, is it rural town or is it New York City? I don't know. Leslie also says it really perplexes me why the writers have continued over the years to have Genoa City referred to as a small town, yet being inconsistent by showing scenes like today with the bigger city downtown multiple skyscrapers skyline. They do not have to pretend it's a small town, and if they want to, they don't have to show the skyscrapers. Pick one. Yeah, I don't love that skyscrapers scene. Right now, though, I think they're showing it because it's filler. I told you, we've realized that doing flashbacks and filler will save the show money. That's fine. That's fine. It's just not my favorite filler. I almost would appreciate a ranch scene, some horses, or I'd like to have some horses, or possibly a park, or like a tree, a serene setting. I think there's other ways they can set the mood besides the kind of obviously fake digital skyline of Genoa City. I think there's better ways that they could use that money-saving space, but I think both Gary and Leslie are making the good point that it's like, okay, is it a small town or is it like booming of industry? I think it has to be the booming industrial town or we wouldn't be able to have Victoria, the queen of the Titans. Okay, well, one more quick comment here from Lara, who says, I liked the chatter last week about women wearing jumpsuits. This probably explains why I ordered a couple of jumpsuits that I am anxiously awaiting. My favorite outfit this week was Victoria's black dress. Her shoulders looked amazing. Ooh, Lara, you ordered yourself a couple of jumpsuits to get in on this fashion. I applaud that. I mean, anybody who's got the body to rock a jumpsuit, you go rock that jumpsuit. Oh, you guys, this week's Y&R Chat is fraught with so much behind-the-scenes drama. My memory card busted. My computer's all messed up. I've been struggling all morning to try to pull this thing together. I'm so sorry if I'm frazzled or if I made any obvious mistakes. Forgive me. I'm literally like, am I gonna get this done in time? Not only did the memory card break, but then the laptop would not even boot. I need like 2 big heavy programs in order to put this all together. But I got it up and running, and oh man, fingers crossed it all comes together. I better get editing so I can get this out to you guys right now. So I'm gonna go, but you can go to yrchat.com to leave me your comments. I love talking to you guys throughout the week and then plucking out some good ones for next Sunday's chat. Come back. We'll do it all again. I love you guys, and I will see you next time.